He put me on the cycle to throw me in the canal. A 4-kilometer deserted road at 10:30 p.m. Just imagine that for a second. You're an 8th grader, right? It's the dead of winter. Your older brother forces you onto a bicycle. But here's the thing. The person pedaling, it's not your brother anymore. It's this aggressive, totally unrecognizable entity that's hijacked his body, and it has one horrifying goal: to throw you straight into a rushing, freezing canal. This is not some scene from a horror movie. This is the literal, chilling reality the subject of today's story actually faced. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly harrowing survival tale, and it comes directly from the first-hand accounts of Anil, a former paracommando. Now, think about that. This is a guy trained to face literally the most extreme physical dangers on Earth. He's equipped with the best weaponry, top-tier tactical training, the whole shebang. Yet, the absolute greatest threats he ever encountered, they weren't on a battlefield. They were forces that no bullet could ever stop. We're going to break down his terrifying encounters, the dark curses that plagued his family, and the incredibly unique philosophy he built to survive it all. Section 1, The Terrifying Canal Journey. Let's just dive right into this. We're starting right in the thick of it, a harrowing winter night in 1997. It's a moment where pure survival instinct and, honestly, maybe a genuine miracle saved a young boy's life. So, Anil's older brother, who is completely under the influence of this unnatural energy, actually locks their mother inside the house. He forces Anil onto a bicycle, pedaling toward the Indura Canal, which is this massive, fast-flowing waterway about 4 kilometers away. It's 10:30 p.m., pitch black. The road is entirely deserted. As they hit the bridge, Anil's terror just kind of clicks into pure instinct. He does the unthinkable. He jumps from the moving cycle right into the dark. And in that exact fraction of a second, a stranger on a bicycle just happens to be passing by. Anil silently leaps onto the back of this guy's cycle. And the craziest part, the stranger doesn't stop, doesn't ask a single question. He just steadily pedals him to safety in a nearby village. To this day, Anil absolutely credits that mysterious silent cyclist as true divine intervention. Section 2, Black Shadow on Family. Now, to understand how things escalated to a life-or-death moment on a deserted bridge, we have to backtrack a bit. We're going back to 1996 to uncover the truly chilling root cause of all this terror. You see, this haunting didn't just start with subtle bumps in the night. It began with highly visceral sensory nightmares right inside their own home. In 1996, the family comes back from a joyous wedding, only to find these terrifying omens waiting for them. I'm talking fresh blood spatters just appearing out of nowhere on the walls, small bird bones scattered completely all over their living space. It's like a bad dream. And almost immediately after finding this, the elder brother's behavior just shifts. Violently. He starts abandoning his work in the fields, flying into these inexplicable rages, basically becoming a completely different person entirely. And when these dark episodes overtook him, his physical appearance would literally morph. His eyes dilated massively, his face flushed this deep red, and his fingers became incredibly stiff, almost claw-like. But here's what's absolutely terrifying. These specific physical tics perfectly mimicked a mentally disturbed relative of theirs who had recently passed away. So the entity inside him wasn't just angry, right? It was purposefully taking on a very specific deceased persona to inflict maximum psychological damage on the family. So where does a sudden dark energy like that even come from? Well, the source material reveals a pretty grim truth. This wasn't some random haunting. It was a targeted curse. Turns out an aunt living right next door was consumed by deep-seated jealousy over Anil's family's steady progress and financial success, and she initiated this dark spell. And get this, she was actually the sister-in-law of the deceased relative the brother was mimicking. It was a calculated, intentional act designed to completely destroy the family from the inside out. Section 3, Wife's Possession and Liberation. Because, unfortunately, the curse didn't stop with the brother. Fast forward to 2003. Anil is now a hardened military man and he gets married. But almost immediately, the dark energy senses a vulnerability and it finds a brand new target, his wife. The terror escalated really rapidly, moving in phases. It starts during his military leave with these severe, entirely unexplained stomach pains at night. Military doctors in Agra were completely baffled. They ran all the tests, but they stated there was absolutely no medical reason for her agony. Soon enough, the unseen pressure gets violent. She's in the hospital, forcefully ripping out her IVs. Then come the apparitions. She begins seeing a man standing silently in their quarters wearing a white kurta. Eventually, the physical toll hits a horrific breaking point, leading to her violently vomiting blood. The climax of this whole horrific period happens during a spiritual fire ritual at their home, basically an attempt to cleanse the space. As the flames rise, Anil's wife suddenly stands up completely entranced. She's staring into empty space, points into the corner of the room, and says, "He is standing right here. He is taking me." And guys, tragically, the physical and spiritual toll of this ordeal was devastating. Imagine the sheer helplessness they must have felt. During this nightmare, the couple actually lost their 5-month unborn child. The dark energy was literally consuming their future. Desperate and totally out of conventional options, the family seeks a permanent solution. They travel to a specific Balaji temple that's widely known for dealing with severe negative energies. Now, they weren't given some quick fix. They were handed a strict, rigorous set of spiritual rules to follow for exactly 21 days. No gimmicks, just intense, disciplined daily home rituals requiring total focus. And remarkably, the discipline pays off. That 21-day regimen establishes a permanent protective shield around Anil and his wife. The haunting of his wife completely stopped, never to return. Section 4. Scary experiences during work. Now, you'd probably think the story ends there, right? Safely contained in the past. But after retiring as a fearless para-commando, Anil steps into the corporate security world in 2017 as an area manager. And he quickly finds out that, while the curse on his wife was broken, the supernatural world definitely wasn't finished with him. There's a real dark irony here. Anil trades active war zones for modern corporate parks, only to find entities that absolutely no security badge or weapon can keep out. In Jinjar, he encounters this thick, heavily moving perfume scent on a deserted road late at night that literally shifts locations daily. Over in Gurgan Sector 44, it's the sound of heavy utensils crashing violently in an entirely empty building. And in Biwadi, massive iron cable drums weighing hundreds of pounds rolling completely on their own. Just picture the scene at Gurgana for a second. You have a hardened private security guard, someone explicitly trained to handle intruders and protect property, literally abandoning his post at midnight. He calls Anil in an absolute panic, ready to quit his job on the spot. Why? Because of the violent, unexplained noises of pots and pans crashing in a deserted, completely unfinished corporate kitchen. There was no one in that building. In fact, the building administration quietly admitted to Anil later that the massive double towers were actually well known by locals to be haunted. And then there's the Biovadi industrial site. Anil is monitoring the CCTV system, and he watches a guard repeatedly jump out of his chair in an entirely empty lot. When the terrified guard finally sprints to Anil's office, he breathlessly explains what happened. From the pitch-black darkness, an invisible entity had whispered his exact name 3 times, followed immediately by a rushing, physical pressure sweeping right over the top of his head. For Anil, these incidents proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that invisible forces actively roam our sleek, modern industrial sites just as much as they do ancient villages. Section 5. Neither theist nor atheist. Realist. As you can imagine, surviving a possessed brother, watching his wife get attacked by an unseen entity, and managing haunted corporate towers, well, it forged a very unique, unshakable worldview for Anil. He doesn't call himself a theist who rigidly follows institutional religion, and he definitely isn't an atheist who completely denies the unseen. He actually calls his overarching philosophy Vastvicta, which roughly translates to realism. It's this ancient, highly practical philosophy. Basically, it's the belief that the universe operates on a fundamental balance of nature. It's heavily influenced by ancestral energies and protective local spirits, rather than just what we read in modern texts or see under a microscope. The absolute crucial point here is this universal balance. As Anil explains it, it's exactly like a coin with 2 sides. If you accept the reality of divine positive protection, like the stranger appearing out of nowhere on the bicycle, or the protective shield manifesting from the temple rituals, then logic dictates you must also accept the undeniable presence of pure, dark negativity. You literally cannot have the light without acknowledging that the shadow exists right beside it, constantly pushing back. Anil learned the hard way that our world is layered with forces we simply cannot see. Forces that can miraculously protect us, and forces that can completely tear our lives apart if we aren't careful. So I'll leave you with this. If every positive truly has a negative, what invisible energies are surrounding you right now, in your home or your workplace, just waiting to be noticed?